friends, it's Kelly. Welcome to the Hip Kit Club YouTube channel. It's Cut File Tuesday, and I've used a cute cut file by Kim Watson to design my layout this week. And I'm going to start my process video in the Silhouette Design Studio just to show you how I used a piece from the cut file to size my photos perfectly to fit in the D and the A in Days. So shown in blue is the cut file that Kim designed, and I released the compound path so I could drag out all the letters and cut them individually. I also did an offset so that I could cut out an offset in pink and create a shadow behind my cut file. And then I copied the D and the A and removed the inside pieces so that I could cut my photos as a whole. So let's pop into the Silhouette Design Studio. I'm going to open a new mat and bring a photo into the Design Studio from my desktop, and I'm just going to right size it so that it fits on my mat and pop back to the other mat and Command C, Command V to bring the letters over here. So you can see it needs to be a little more transparent, and you can see your photo underneath. And I right size it until the photo will show in the alphabet what I want to see on my layout. So I make a note of the size, and I actually round it off just because my photo software works better in round numbers. And I make a note of that and move on to my next photo and do the same process. So I'm going to print that photo to that size and come back at the end to show cutting it out in Silhouette Studio. And my second photo here, I'm going to do the same thing, make it smaller so we can see it on the mat, put the A over top of my photo and make it transparent. You just use that toggle at the bottom of your color selection menu and size the photo until it fits in the letter. And I make a note of the measurements here from Silhouette Design Studio and take those measurements over to my photo software and print it in that size. So I'm going to show you the papers that I've used to make my layout, and this one's by Jen Hatfield. It's her Reaching Out collection. It's called One World, and this is the specialty paper from the Hip Kit Club, and that one is called So Fancy, and we've got the Brazil cardstock. I love this color. It's called Limeade, and this is from Pink Fresh Studio. It's actually from the June Hip Kit. I needed some purple, and this one was perfect. And this is my background page. I've gone ahead and done some running stitch, super easy. On a diagonal, I left 2 inches at the top of the page, 7 inches at the bottom of the page, and I made a couple of ticks in my paper. And then I turned the paper over and did the same on the other side, and they're a ½ an inch apart. So I made a mark at 2 inches and a mark at 7 inches and every ½ inch in between. And once I've connected the lines on a diagonal, then I made holes for stitching and the straight stitch in 4 different colors that matched my layout. So this is my background, and I always like to include a little stitching. These are the DMC flosses I've used. And I always use 6 strands of floss and just a regular sewing needle. Instead of white, I use a color called B5200 because it's actually whiter than white, and it matches the white paper in my background perfectly. So I'm going to speed through the rest of my process video. There's the cut file. I've cut it twice with the background, and I've glued those together. And then they're popped up on the pink shadow. Each letter, because you have 2 pieces of cardstock, I glued those together, and then my pattern paper on top. And I'll just show you how I did that with the N, and the rest of my letters have already been finished off screen, and it makes for a nice sturdy letter, and when you're popping it up, it really looks like it has some nice dimension. So I'm going to put my cut file together as well, just by gluing the cut file to the offset and then popping up the offset onto my pink shadow with some 3D tape. And so the pencil mark for the inside of the D and the A is just to help with placement after I have my foam tape on the cut file. I was careful not to put it right to the edge of the cut file because I'm going to be laying a few items under the cut file on the layout. And I fussy cut the banners from Vicki Boutin's Color Study cut apart sheet, Laugh, Giggle, Repeat, to help make a few collages to lay around my layout. I've also used the bits and pieces package, and that's available in the main kit. It's part of the Simple Stories Sunkissed collection, as well as the Brave and Bold Phrase Thickers by Amy Tangerine. Now I do apologize, during this process my camera didn't turn on, and so you don't see me adding the word summer to my layout. I've substituted a pink lemonade glass where the U would normally go. I always think that's fun when you can use a piece of ephemera instead of a letter. And those letters are in the embellishment kit. They're part of the Simple Stories Color Vibe collection. The blue thickers in that collection. So I'm just going through my little ephemera pieces and adding them to my layout. Now all the daisies backed with vellum is a cut file by Kim Watson. It came out in June, so look for that in the June cut file menu. And I like how you can see the stitching in behind them, and I wanted to keep the layout bright and white and fresh because the title and the ephemera that I'm using is all sunny and bright. So it took me a little while to decide where to put all my flowers, and I decided to go with an asymmetrical look. I've got 9 flowers in total, so I like that odd number, and I put 6 on the right side and 3 on the left. In the end, you'll see that in the close-ups. And then I added my ephemera collages in and around the flowers, still keeping in mind that I'm working on a slight diagonal from the upper left to the bottom right. And that goes along with my stitching in the background. So as I'm adding the ephemera bits and pieces here and there, I just want to say how much fun it's been to work with the August kit, all the bright colors, and I've actually been designing my pages for a girlfriend and her daughter, and that's been a lot of fun too. Thanks for sharing your photos, Nadine. Now if you pop over to our website, the August and September cut files are there for you to grab. There's a lot of cute ones. Kim outdid herself. And you can also spy the September kits online, available for purchase. And they're a sweet mix of the best days by Pink Fresh Studio and a lot of beautiful exclusive products by the Hip Kit. And you're going to love that. I should be getting mine any day now, and I can't wait to start working with those. So I'm just going through and turning up some of the petals on my daisies to give my background a little more texture. And you might have noticed that my layout is basically limited to 4 colors: the navy, green, purple, and pink. And that's what I really love about the Hip Kit. There's so much to choose from. If you decide to work in particular colors, there's tons of ephemera. There were 2 sets of thickers for your alphabet this month, being the August kit, and that's just my style. I prefer to keep things rather spare and fresh, And I do love the mixed media I see around the website and our Facebook page. I'm just really not that good at it. I think I told Missy Witten once that there's not enough paper in the world for me to learn the packaging technique. But oh my gosh, you girls are just like wow me with what you create. So I'm just attaching my daisies here. Some are popped up, some are just glued to the background. It's nice to have a few different levels with your ephemera and even your cut file, and I tend to really use a lot of foam tape to achieve that. Sorry about my head in there. Sometimes it gets in the way when you have to see what you're doing over top. So I'm about finished playing with the flowers and popping up my last collage with foam tape. And I just wanted to show you my idea about color layering. I like to buy thread, sequins, and paint all in the same color so that when I go to finish off my projects, they can have a real cohesive look. So this is generally something I add to every layout that I design. I like to apply my paint with just the opposite ends of a paintbrush. I have paintbrushes in all sizes and can vary the size of my paint dots on my layout. Just an option to splattering, although I did do that as well. At the very end, I splattered my entire layout with white gesso, and I've just discovered recently watching a video, and I apologize, I don't remember whose video I learned this from, but the gesso splatter on your layout sits on top of the paper rather than being absorbed by the paper, which can sometimes happen when you're using watered down acrylic paint. The gesso sits on top and gives you a nice bit of white splatter. So along with my paint dots, I've glued on a few sequins from my stash, again in complementary colors to my layout. And this is where I've cut out the photographs using my Silhouette Studio and the process I shared in the Cameo Silhouette Studio tutorial at the beginning of the video. The last thing I did off camera after I finished videotaping, I decided I needed a little bit of something on the bottom of this layout. So I cut off a 1/2 inch from the bottom of the layout and added 2 strips of cardstock, one in lime, one in pink from the kit, and I scalloped one with a border punch. So you'll see that in the close-ups. So thanks so much for joining me here, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.